Hello and welcome back to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Baldur's Gate 3. I'm your host Lord Fenton. In this Baldur's Gate 3 build video, we're doing a pure Druid Circle of the Moon Wild Shape Ultra DPS build. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 builds like this. Do not forget to hit the notification bell so be updated and much more. So here's the pros and cons of this build simply. Number one, you're going to have access to all the Druid spells. Speaking of Druid spells, guess what? You're going to have the Woodland Creature Summon. That's a very strong to even late game summon that is really powerful. Yeah, the Dryad, she could summon another creature. That's about 2 summons there already. Wild Shape, main reason for this build, is very versatile and powerful. Last but not least is terrain advantage. You heard me right, terrain. Yep, that's right. You get to control the terrain. Now, disadvantages as follows. Your wild shape goes, so does your DPS. You don't have access to spells like the Circle of Land. That's the disadvantage there. And last but not least, you're going to have to really depend on some gear in order to benefit this. So let's go ahead and start with the character creation process. Now it's time to go over the races, but before we actually do that, let me explain about one of the characters could actually become, you guessed it, this build, Halsin. Now, somehow you decide to side with Halsin, the Tieflings, and the Druids in Act 1, you get him. In other words, you have to kill all 3 leaders. With him, he'll be perfect for this build. Now, if you want to go with Jaheira, that's fine, but I prefer Jaheira for a Circle of the Land. I have another build with for that. But still, Halsin's the best candidate. Time to go over the races, shall we? Let's talk about the elves first. Yeah, the ones with long life. So the elves, they have 9 meters of movement per turn, which is good. Now their elven proficiencies, that means it's long sword, short bow, and long bow. Yeah, that's all right. Dark vision, that's actually good. 12 meters there. You see it in the dark. Now, Fate Ancestry advantages on saving throws against being charmed. That is very good for anti-crowd control for you, and you cannot be magically put to sleep, which is great, everyone. Yeah, let me make sure this elf is tall. High elves, this is a good race because you get to pick a level 0 spell for free, so you get to choose one of those from the high elf window, or I say menu. Now this is a better race, which is wood elves. They'll give you 1.5 meters in movement speed, which is good. It adds to the 9 meters, which makes it 10.5. Next up the bat are the Tieflings. Now they have 9 meters movement speed, just like your elven friends here. Another thing, this is great, they have also dark vision. Again, seeing the dark is always great. And they have hellish resistance. They have resistance to fire, and they only take half fire damage. Yeah, fireball can be a total B at start of the game. Here's the Osmosis Tiefling. They get to do produce flame, darkness, and another spell if you like that. So they're the spellcasters of the Tiefling race, which is good. So let's go on anyways. The next race we're going to go ahead and talk about are the humans. They're actually good for this build. They're 9 meters per turn, which is good. Another thing is they have civil militia, which is alright. Yeah, just like pikes, halberds, and glaives and such like that. Human versatility, they gain an extra skill point. That's really good for this build. So this way you want to pick another wisdom-based skill or something else you feel like you want to definitely choose. You get to choose freely, which is a very nice thing, of course, for that. Now, next up are your half-elves. Yeah, let's, wait, no, I almost went ahead of myself. Oh, yeah, dwarves. So dwarves have 7.5 movement speed, which is good. They have dwarven combat train, which is axes and hammers, basically. Dark vision, they're great for us because they see 12 meters in the dark, which is really nice. And they have resistance and advantages against poison. That's good early on in the game, mainly Act 1, but still it's good. Gold dwarves, they gain 1 extra hit point when they level up. So if you want more hit points, this race is the way to go, especially the gold dwarves, which is really nice. Now, next up the bat are the half-elves. Like their both parent sides, they gain 9 meters movement per turn. Their human side they get is the civil militia, which is alright. Now, they gain their elven side, which is dark vision, 12 meters. That is good, real good. They can see in the dark. Gets rid of the human problem, because humans cannot see in the dark, but this race can. Last but not least is Fate Ancestry. They have advantages on, you guessed it, against Charm and cannot be magically put to sleep. Again, 2 anti-crowd controls. One's a permanent one. Now, High Elves, just like their parents, they gain level 0 spells to pick from. You already seen that. Another one I like, this is even better. You gain 1.5 movement speed. Yeah, the Wood Elves. Yeah, Wood Elves are good for that. You want to move around. Halflings. Now they are 7.5 movement speed per turn, which is good. Lucky, so if your attack roll, ability check, or saving throw rolls a dread at 1, you get to re-roll again, which is good. Really good. And another thing that's good with halflings is brave. They have advantages on save throws against being frightened. That's a good anti-crowd control thing for them. They're always brave, just like Lord of the Rings. Now, Lightfoot halflings, they have natural advantages on stealth checks, which is good. In case you want to go stealthy with your wild shape. Stronghold resilience, they have advantages against poison and being poisoned, so they're good for that. Really good at the start of the game because foes tend to like to poison quite a bit. So let's go over the next race is the gnomes. 7.5 movement speed, which is just like the halflings, but still it's good for that. Not better than the tall races, but still. Gnome cunning, so they have advantages on the following: intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. We'll be using a lot of those wisdom ones. Now, I picked the forest gnomes. I felt like that's the best. Speak with animals for free, so you don't have to put in the spell slot. Boom, you get to use it. You're all set and good to go to speak with animals. And then gain dark vision, which is 12 meters, which is real nice. Yeah, in other words, you see in the dark with that race. I'm probably going to say Wood Elves is the best way to go. Humans also, and gold dwarfs for more hit points. Now let's go over the level 0 spells. I'm going to go over each of them. Guidance, your target gains a 1d4 ability check bonus. Very good. Highly recommended to pick. Poison spray, you do 1 to 12 poison damage. Sprays at frontal towards enemies. Produce flames, alright. It makes a fire button, you get to toss it. Osmosis tieflings have it, so avoid it. Resistance, you gain 1d4 bonus to saving throws, which is nice. Now, Slay, your club becomes a magical one, which is 4 to 11 blunt damage. And it boosts up your spellcasting abilities for attack rolls, which is great. Thorn Whip, it does 1d6 damage. Target cannot be pulled if they're huge, but you get to say, get over here. So I'm going to pick, say, Slay. That's the one that gives you a magical blunt weapon on your normal blunt weapon. And Guidance, definitely. As for backgrounds, only 2 I should suggest is Folk Hero, which gives you insight. No. This one gives you animal handling and survival. And the other one is Outlander, which gives you athletics and survival. Either one of those are good. So I'm going to pick Folk Hero for this build. And let's definitely go on to the ability points. Now, ability points are going to be a bit different than my normal build, especially with this one, since I'm going to try to get another stat up there. We're going to put strength at 10 and leave it. I'm going to advise drinking the permanent stat boost strength potion for your main character as a druid. Now, dexterity, we're going to leave at, you guessed it, 16. Let me switch it to that. Yeah, put the 1 on there and then the wisdom plus 2. Let me make sure. Yeah, let me make sure I do this right. Again, yeah, I had to go over some things here. Yeah, 16. Okay, dexterity at 16. It's on my paper. I had 2 different stats on there. I forgot I crossed one off, but still, get 16. Constitution you want, and you guessed at 15 because, again, we're going to level that up at 4. Yeah, we're going to pick a certain feat for that. So, yeah, you definitely want it at 15, not 16. So let's put that there. Unfortunately, because the Constitution's at 15, Dexterity 16, we're going a little overboard on some of the stats. Intelligence will be at 8. This will be one of our weak stats. And as for Wisdom, we're going to keep at 16. That's going to be our bread and butter. This build, we're going to get to a natural 20 on that. Charisma at 8, unfortunately, so we'll leave it there. So let's keep it there. As for skills, let's go ahead and just go over those once I show everybody one more time what's the final lock on this ability score. You definitely want nature, ammo handling, let's see here, and perception at least. You pick insight or medicine. I say medicine, that's the best way to go. Now, if you're a human, you pick insight, or if you have, like, for example, like I have with good dexterity, acrobats because you can move around, which is very good for this setup. So we'll select those skills and lock them in, and we'll talk about level 1 spells. Now the level 1 spells, it follows Ice Knife. This is just used to set up combat and such. You do 3 to 22 damage total. You get to also create a slick surface, which is good. Entangle, you get to hold foe in place. This way you have fun with them. If they don't, yeah. Now Fall Crowd, you drop it down. Foe gets blinded, heavily obscured. So good idea, attack from outside. Speak with animals. I'm going to say just use either potion, or if you're a forest elf, use your racial ability. Animal friendship, this is like a nice crowd control. Controls animals not to attack you, but they'll be hostile and higher difficulty after that. It's up to you on that judgment if you're having trouble with certain animals. Charm person, person will try to attack you, but you cast a spell, they'll ignore, go somewhere else to attack. Ignore, there's a Mind Flayer power for that. Thunder Wave, you do 2 to 16 damage on everybody. You push them back. That you take half on saving throws. It's not a bad spell to use. Healing Word, it heals 4 to 7 damage. However, you can do it for a good distance. It's like a long distance healing spell, which is good. Now here's its more powerful cousin, which is much more closer range, which is Cure Wounds. 4 to 11 healing spell. It's more of a touch range or close range you have to use. That's disadvantage, but it's nice. Fairy Fire, all targets within light are visible, and on attack rolls against them, you have advantage, which is good. Enhanced Leap boosts up your jumping. Potion of vaulting, that's better use. Long Stride, you gain movement speed on it, which is not bad if you need that. Good Berries, this is like healing berries, gives you 1 to 4 hit points per berry, which is 4 of them. They're not bad, but I say healing potions is the way to go. Create Water, Destroy Water. Now, this either destroys water or definitely creates water. Create Water, will use that like in Act 1 like a few times, especially one in Act 3 as well. Now, we're going to just say the Ice spell, the Thunder Wave, and both healing spells. Again, you get to switch in and out because you're a druid. So let's go ahead and level up our character. It's time to go ahead and level up from 2 to 12. Halsin's going to be our demonstration for the leveling up process. So let's begin. We gain some class features. In other words, a spell slot, just like your normal druids would. And we have a choice. So we're going to pick Circle of the Moon. So let's go ahead and go over some of the things on this. Now we get Combat Wild Shape. Yeah, just like the other druids, which is very good. It's going to be our bread and butter. Lunar Min, that means we spent a spell slot to heal us. So the bigger the spell slot, the more we get healed. We get the Wild Shape into a beast, which is not bad at all. Badger, this is just used to burrow, pop in, pop out to attack, which is cool. Yeah, that's a good one too. Also, you get to that's the it tells you there. And Wild Shape, you can't talk. Wild Shape Spider, I mean, you get to enweb your foes, 20 hit points, and it's like 20 every other level, which is not bad at all. Wolf, this is a good one. You use it to incite allies and also distract enemies. 18 hit points. This is a good shape. Now, another one we get is Cat. So this is just used to get through places we cannot get through. No familiars. You do it yourself. Wild Shape Bear, you change it to a bear. It's more like a tank. So you get 30 hit points and get enemies to attack you. This is very good for tough encounters too. So I would say go for that. I'm just looking. Yep, that's it. And we're going to go ahead and prepare our spells. I'm going to select Fairy Fire. That's a good one to use. This way we weaken our foes attacking. Now we're at level 3, everyone. So we gain, level 2 spells. And level 2 spell slot and level 1 spell slot. Bark Skin, it boosts up your armor class up to 16. Bark Skin Potion does the same effect, so avoid it. Now, next one is another one to avoid is Dark Vision. Yeah, if you're one of those races who can see in the dark, avoid it. Otherwise, take a a potion like that for those that cannot see. And Enhanced Ability, this is really good. Gives you nice advantages on ability checks of your choice. You roll 2 dices, which is good. Now, Flame Blade, you get to use a Flame Blade in your hand. It does 3 to 18 fire damage. Some people use that in their build for that. It's not bad at all. Flame Spear, you throw a spear that does 2 to 12 fire damage. Pretty good. Gust of Wind, this will knock your foes off balance. It pushes back for 5 meters. That's a nice push away spell. Now another one, this is a good one. Heat Metal, 2 to 16 fire damage. Heats up the metal. Any foes with metal weapons, they have to drop their weapons or suffer the consequences with disadvantage on saving throws. It's good. It's a good spell to use, like a nice alternative as well. Hold person, so you hold a person when they're held. And you always critical hit against. Cast this, wild shape, then go kick some butt, along with your buddies as well. So yeah, definitely want to select that when we get to it. Lesser Restoration, this will cure the following: disease, poison, paralysis, and blindness. Good curing spell in case you're one of those affected you. Now this is a good DPS spell. Moonbeam, drops a moonbeam down. You could move it around, does 2 to 20 damage. You could keep on doing it as long as you have concentration focus for 10 turns. Now this one's not bad for stealthers, but it gives you plus 10 bonus to stealth checks. I say like your ranger build should use that instead. Protection from poison, not only cures poison, you also get, I should say, resistance against it. That's a good spell in case you're facing against poison foe. Spike Growth is a good one, does 2 to 8 damage. Anyone on the train will suffer half movement, which is very good. So I already got Moonbeam there. There we go. Ding, level 4. Every levels of 4, we get ourselves a free feat. Exception rogues and fighters, they get something else. They get a bonus on that. I'm going to say is Thorn Whip, so you select that. If you already selected Thorn Whip, pick the other two, Slay or the Guidance one. I'm going to keep Hold Person, so this way you could use it as crowd control against humanoid type of foes. There's some of them that are annoying. This one I picked was this Tavern Brawler. Now this does the following: you make a armor attack, use improvised weapons, or throw something as your strength modifier for, which is twice the damage, and for attack rolls. It's very good. And I put Constitution up there to even it out. And yeah, Tavern Brawler works for Wild Shape. Ding, level 5, everyone. So we get a few things now. So let's go over them. First, we get a level 3 spell slot and Wild Strike. You get to make an additional attack after making Unarmed Strike while in Wild Shape. You're Unarmed Strike anyways in Wild Shape. This is nice. So, for instance, your Owlbear could do 2 attacks per round. I'm just saying. Call Lightning. You do 3 to 30 damage. You call down lightning in a small area. Very nice spell. Very abusive for the Call of the Land. This is just used to start up combat. Daylight. Drop a big old daylight in the area. Blinds foes, not blinds them, but it just puts a light up there. Great to annoy rogues and certain encounters. Feign Death, this is a nice spell to use in case allies weak. Put them in protective coma. They only take psychotic damage, but they can't be poison or disease. Plant Growth, no damage, but it drops it. Moves their movement speeds drop by a quarter. You'll use that quite a bit later on if you need to. Protection from energy, you not gain nice resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. So when those hurt you, pop those babies. Sleet Storm. This will disrupt concentration on spellcasters, douse fires, and it creates a nice slick surface for them to fall on. I'm going to say Call Lightning number 1. That's good to start out before Wild Shaping. And Sleet Storm, same thing as well. So use those, then you Wild Shape, and you'll kick some butt. Like that. So yeah, you always want those. So yeah, we got it all set up. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and get another one. I'm going to do Plant Growth. I felt like that's a good one to use in Abuse. Oh, wait, I accidentally did that. I was supposed to do something else. Oh, I'll just leave Plant Growth for the next level. Ding, level 6, everyone. So, we get ourselves some nice things. So let's go over that now. Primal Strikes. So, our, I say unarmed attacks are now magical. So we can overcome resistance and immunity to non-magical damage, which is good for a wild shape form. Kind of like the bonus in, I think, the older Dungeons & Dragons games. Now we can wild shape into a panther, which gives you prowl and invisibility to abuse. Some builds will actually use that. Owlbear, this is the big daddy. You change it to a big old owlbear. You get to do rupture the ground. You do a lot. In other words, it's like a dive bomb. The higher you are, you do more damage. And you can get enraged to do a lot more damage as well. It's a very powerful, I say, shape. I used it quite a bit as Halcyon. Pick Plant Growth this way. Foes will be stuck or so. Ding, level 7. Oh, we get some level 4 spells, everyone. This is starting to get really nice. Blight does 8 to 64 damage. Now, if it's plant foes, it always does the maximum of 64, which is really good. And really, really abusive as well. Confuse a group of enemies. They'll attack randomly, including themselves. Decent crowd control spell. Conjure minor elemental. You conjure elemental to help fight for you. That's not bad. This one's the big daddy. Conjure woodland being. You get a dryad. She does nature step, entangle, and summon wood ward. Another summon. That is 2. It's really overpowered. You probably use that through the game or most of it after when you get in Act 2. Dominate beasts is like a crowd control spell. Have a beast fight for you Free of movement, gets rid of stun, difficult terrain, and others couldn't, and they cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Grasping Vine summons a vine to drag a creature towards itself, which is not bad. Ice Storm, you do 6 to 40 AoE damage. Ice damage, of course, makes the surface slick. Very powerful AoE spell for this level. Polymorph, transform a foe into a harmless sheep. That's just used for a crowd control spell. You still have to keep concentration on that. Stone Skin, the creature, whoever is Stone Skin, only takes half the damage in blunt, piercing, and slashing. That's not bad for a melee fire to be cast upon. Wall of Fire, drop Wall of Fire down. Anyone goes through the Wall of Fire gets fired 5 to 40 damage, which is good. I'm going to say Ice Storm because this way we're going to drop that when we start the battle, and then Wild Shape if we need to. And Conjure Woodland Being will either cast it before or first round of combat, which is nice. Ding, level 8, everyone. Now we're really getting somewhere. Okay, we get ourselves another spell slot. And we get Saber-Tooth Tiger. This is a very nice Wild Shape. It does a lot of damage, gives shred armor, and regenerate health. I used this at Act 3 a few times just to test it. I'm amazed by it. So let's go ahead and get rid of this one. And I'm going to select Blight. That's a good one for level 8. And let's make sure I do this right. You could also do, that one too, Stone Skin. It's up to you. Like I said, for Druids, they could go back and forth, select their spells. So Blight or Stone Skin. Now, at level 8, we're picking ability improvement. All your points go into Wisdom. We're going to boost that sucker up there. So we just put it from 16 to 18. Ding, level 9. Yep, we're getting up there. We're closing in on the level 12 cap. And we get level 5 spells. See, spell 4, spell 5. Slot or unlock because you use and abuse. Great for Wild Shape to heal too. Conjure Elemental, so we get to summon very powerful elementals. They'll fight for you. They're really tough. I mean, many people use this in combat against tough bosses to spread out the damage. Contagion, poison the target, also disease of your choice. Not bad spell to abuse and use. Now, next one is Greater Restoration. Now, this will cure a different set of elements. Charm, Petrification, Stun, or your Curse. So, it's like a super cure curse spell as well. Insect Leg, 4 to 40 damage. Make the terrain difficult. Disadvantages on perception check. Very good spell to clear out small enemies as well. Mass Cure Wounds, I'll do 7 to 28 healing on every bite, which is good. Planar Barney charms a planar type of creatures, which is Celestial, Elemental, Fate, or a Demon. Nice. Wall of Stone, just drop a Wall of Stone down. They'll have to go the other way. That's alright. I'm going to probably suggest for this level is, let's see here. Just try and write my notes down. Insect Plague, and of course Conjure Elemental. Those two are good. Let me get rid of the short distance. Yeah, let's put the long distance heal on there instead of Cure Wounds. We'll have Mass Cure Wounds. Ding, level 10. And yeah, once again, you can change your spells out on certain situations, and we get a few good things. Now, Improved Wild Strike, we make 2 additional attacks per round with our Unarmed Strike as a creature. Very good. Sometimes you won't need more than 2. We get to change ourselves into a dino, which they do some kind of corrosive spit. Dissolves target's armor class, which is nice. Now we get elemental shapes, which is earth, fire, wind, and water. Now air, we get 90 hit points, invisibility, electric frail, and raging vortex. I tried that out. It's fun. That's all I gotta say. Now earth ones, they get 103 hit points. And they get muck to metal. Sludgy Sling, that means makes the ground like all difficult terrain, and they can burrow in the ground. Now, another thing is we get to Fire version, which is 90 hit points, Scorching Strike. We get some Immortalation spell, which is like a protective, and Cinder Strike, which is like a nice AoE attack for melee. And Water one is 90 hit points. We get some kind of Cold Strike. We get Healing Vapors, Explosive Icicles as well. Pick Resistance, because this way you cast before combat, before you Wild Shape if you need to. On tough ones, gives you boost in saving throws. Let me go ahead and get rid of the Grafting Vines. We don't need that. I'm going to do Greater Restoration. That is the best way to go for this setup. And there we go. Ding, level 11. We're getting close to the cap, everyone. And we get ourselves some new spells. Here we go. Heal. You get healed straight up 70 hit points. Now, if there's an expansion, that'll be healed for more. And you get Cure for Blindness. Hero's Feast, drop this sucker down, your hit points increase, you get Wisdom, saving throws, advantages, cannot be diseased, poisoned, or frightened. Definitely use a hireling to do that. Sunbeam, it does 6 to 48 damage, shoots a straight beam of light, blinds all targets. This is great against the undead as well. And you can recast it over and over again. But we'll cast it once and we'll wild shape it afterwards. Wall of Thorns, foes go through a wall of thorns, they get entangled, and it takes 7 to 56 damage. Windwalk, this is a nice get out of jail free card, so when you transform, you won't be able to attack, cast spells, or talk until you get out of it. It's like an oh no situation. Pick Sunbeam, this is a great way to start combat with. Ding, level 12, this is it everyone, the last level. So first we're going to pick is the heal spell, if we need to heal right away out of wild shape. So there, and ability improvement is wisdom, so we get that to 20. And that's about it from leveling up from, you guessed it, 2 to 12. Let's talk about permanent ability score boosters next. In Baldur's Gate 3, there are 3 ways to get your permanent ability scores boosted up. So they're 1 for each act. If you decide to spare Auntie Ethel when you fight her for the first time, in other words, get her underneath 10 hit points, she'll grovel for her life. If you do accept this, you get a +1 ability score of your choice for the item. I would say avoid your paladin doing this because your paladin might be an Oathbreaker, so you definitely want to make sure you or anybody else who's not a paladin gets the killing blow, or to say the wounding blow. Now in Act 2, you got to have a Steron with you. You don't have a Steron with you, either he died off somewhere or he left your party. You're not going to be able to get this. But with a Steron, have him by Adraja. She is the NPC that sells alchemy and some wonderful endgame items in the Moonrise Towers. Once she is bitten by a Steron, what happens is she'll give you a nice potion that gives you +2 strength permanently. You want to get this for this build, it'll boost your strength up to 12. I'll have it at 10, that'll be 12, which is good enough. Now the Mirror Loss, this is the best way to get some stat boosting here. The Mirror Loss is in Act 3. After you get past a certain you-know-who underneath the House of Grief, 3 things can happen, but beforehand, you have to pass some intelligence checks. In other words, I think it's religion and arcana. Once you do that, you have to take a loss. The loss can be cured. It's usually -2, so pick a loss like, for example, dexterity. You'll be able to cure it with remove curse or greater restoration. There's 3 possible outcomes, and one more thing, don't cheat the mirror with deception because you get nothing out of it, nada. Number 1, if you pass 2 charisma checks, that's hidden, you won't see it. You get +1 charisma and +2 stat your choice. That happens, pick wisdom. This is a wisdom build. If you pass 1 charisma check but not the other one, you only get +2 stat your choice, pick wisdom. You don't pass 2 charisma checks, you get nothing. People who come to this mirror respect their characters with high, you guessed it, intelligence and charisma. Left everything else to dust. But then they respect back again. So let's do a demonstration of the strength potion first. Now in Act 2, we're having Steron buying our favorite drow friend here in Act 2 who sells the, you guessed, the good stuff. Now after she is definitely bitten, in other words, the deal has been made, she'll give you a nice potion of strength. Now with the potion of strength, you automatically gain yourself a +2 strength potion permanently. You should be the one that drinks it up. It's a very good stat boost in Act 2. You should not pass it up. In other words, play it cool in the Moonrise Towers. So let's go ahead and talk about the Act 3 one. At the Mirror Loss, after passing the 2 intelligence checks and taking a loss, not being deceptive, now you have a choice on what you definitely get. So I'm going to go over each of the 6 stats you get with the following number. Now, number 1, that is strength. So you gain +2 strength. Number 2, that is +2 dexterity. While number 3, that is +3 constitution. Number 4, +2 intelligence. Number 5, +2 wisdom. That's going to be what you're going to be doing for this build. I'm just demonstrating my paladin on the gains. And number 6 is, you guessed it, +2 charisma. So for this build, you want to definitely pick wisdom because your spells are based off of that. When you start up the combat, usually on tough ones, cast a spell, shapeshift, go kick some serious butt. So we selected the charisma, we'll gain +2 charisma, but for this build, like it's for wisdom. After you get your positives, go ahead and remove curse or greater restoration yourself out of that -2 dexterity to where -2 you selected. Let's do the before and after. Now here are the before and afters you get with your permanent stat boosts. Now, before, that's 10 strength, 16 dexterity, 16 constitution, intelligence 8, wisdom 20, and charisma at 8. That's just like if you're maxed at 12. Now, after, you gain 12 strength thanks to the +2 strength potion. That's what we're going to be going for with this build. 16 dexterity, 16 constitution as well, 8 intelligence, wisdom at 22 thanks to mirror loss. Now, 23 if you decide to spare Auntie Ethel and use the wisdom item you selected. Hopefully you did that. It's an odd number, however, there's a certain point towards the game, you get a nice temporary boost for that. And finally, charisma at 8. Now, next part of this build video is Tadpole Powers. Here are the Tadpole Powers. I separated in 2 categories: before and after the Astral Touch Tadpole you use. So let's start with before. So here we go on the before. Favorable beginnings, which is attack rolls or gives you advantage in dialogue. This is really nice. You abuse it and use it. Next up is Charm. Prevents a foe attacking you for 1 turn. So if you haven't got to your wild shape yet, they come towards you, they stop, you charm them, then you wild shape and go, of course, kick someone else's butt. Shield thralls. Make a shield on you or your allies. When that explodes, that shield, of course, will stun foes. Very nice reaction, I should say, spell for that. Psionic Backlash. When enemy within 9 meters casts a spell, you can use your reaction and inflict 1d4 psychotic damage to the caster level per spell level. This goes up. Very nice to abuse. Let's go with the after. Welcome to the dark side of Baldur's Gate 3 when you use the Astral Touch Tadpole. Well, not really, but here we go. Black Hole. This is an OP AoE attack. Annihilates many foes late game. I used it. Has 5 charges. It wrecks everything in sight. The Fly spell. Gain ability to fly. Use this flying around the battlefield. So if you feel like some foe gets to jump on you before you wild shape, fly around, wild shape, and then of course use the terrain to your advantage. Repulse Swords is an AoE pushback attack, which does nice pushback damage. Now, if foes come towards you, you're not ready to wild shape yet or so, push them away. Free cast. Next ability, spells or anything else, free of charge to use. So for instance, you want to cast Sunbeam before you wild shape, but you don't want to use your level 6 spell slot. Free cast Sunbeam, then you wild shape. You still have that level 6 spell slot. Now let's go ahead and talk about gear advice. Here are some gear advice I did split up into 2 categories. By the end of Act 1, aka before entering the Shadow Cursed lands, and end game. Now, I did also add some shifter gear, so this way when you're in wild shape form, you get bonuses in that. And yeah, gear's not a little bit important on the wild shape, but when you're out of wild shape, they're very important. So I'm going to start with by the end of Act 1 gear. Now for equipment, I try best as I can. I do mean best as I can for Act 1 by the time you get to the end of it, to make sure there's items that I should say carry through when you go into wild shape. So here we go. The Haste Helm gain momentum for 3 rounds. That's 1.5 movement speed per round. Really good. Now that's automatically, and that's for 3 rounds. This is in a locked chest in the Blighted Village in Act 1. Now here's a decent alternative. Key of the Ancients. This will give you nature +1. Vendale drops this, or you can pickpocket this in the underground patches to the Druid's Grove. Also, Nettle does have this as well if you could steal from her too. Let's move on to the next set of equipment. Hedge Wanderer's Armor. Gain +1 bonus to dexterity saving throws and checks. Also nature +1. Aron sells this in the Druid's Grove in Act 1. That is the, I believe, halfling druid who sells you some good stuff you want to buy. Here's a nice alternative. Amantite Scale Mail, 16 AC. All incoming damage reduced by 1. Cannot be critical hit upon. When a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling for 2 turns. This is at the Amantite Forge, the Underdark 2, aka Grimforge in Act 1. You gotta defeat Grim. Once that is done, use the Mithril and then a proper mold, which is the Scale Mail. Combine them 2 together at the forge, do the process, you get it. That's why I put it second, because that's most likely you get that last. But still, it's this priority you should get over the other armor anyways. Let's move on. Here are some gloves. Here's my suggestion. Gloves of Dexterity. Your Dexterity is set to 18. You get a +1 attack. Now, if it's over 18, it'll still be 19. You still get the +1 attack, even if you're in wild shape form. This is in the Githyanki Kresh in the Mountain Pass in Act 1. Now, the merchant Jira will sell this to you. Buy everything from her. I do mean everything before, go ahead and do the part of the store where you're forced to attack every Githyanki in there. Here's a good alternative. Gloves of the Growling Underdog. 2 or more foes, you gain advantage on melee attacks. This is nice though, because sometimes they'll actually does convert to unarmed attacks as well. You want this. The +1 strength saving throws does carry on when you're in a wild shape too. Door Raglan's treasure crates in the Shatter Sanctum in Act 1 it has this at. You have to defeat or steal the key from Door, and then you go in there and get the gloves. Here are these boots. This is a good one. Disintegrating Nightwalkers cannot be enweb, entangle, or ensnare, and cannot slip on grease or ice. This is really useful early on in Act 1. You also gain the Misty Step spell. It's like Misty Step exactly. True Sword Near drops this in the Grimforge Underdark 2 area in Act 1. So either have them killed or you kill them yourself. In other words, just delay the inevitable. Now here's another one. Linebreaker Boots. Once per turn, when you dash, you gain Wrath for 2 turns. Wrath is when you gain +1 damage with melee weapons. That's not bad, but Athletics +1 is good because in case you want to jump around. And that will help out when you're in wild shape. Warg Pins in the Shatter Sanctum in Act 1 drops. This also dropped by Beastmaster Zerk. You could also attempt to steal that from him if you want to. If you decide to side with, of course, the Absolute. Now, next up to bat is the Amulet of Misty Step. Gain Misty Step just like the spell. Good to teleport around. Great to use before you decide to transform into your wild shape. In the Shatter Sanctum at the True Sword Guts quarters in Act 1, there's ways to get into it. Now, this one will definitely persistently carry on in case you don't like the other necklace. Moon Drop Pendant. When the wearer has 50% hit points or less, they don't provoke attacks of opportunity. That's great because you can move around, move to safety, especially in wild shapes. This way you recover by using your spell slot to heal. This is in the Owlbear Cave where you have to solve the Slew Knight Magic Trap puzzle. Yeah, you have to find the prayer sheet and then read the prayer sheet and then get the answers and open up the trap chest, or otherwise you get cursed. Now, here's the thing. This is in Act 1. Do not bring Shadowheart near this or you get heavily disapproval. Leave her at the entrance of the cave or outside the cave. She'll be okay. Now, this one's not bad. I believe this one might carry on when you're in wild shape to heal. But here we go. The Whispering Promise. When the wearer heals a creature, that might be yourself as well, you also receive Bless, just like the spell. It means gaining a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws for 2 turns. Really useful, especially in wild shape. Here's a few options. Volo in the Druid's Grove, Rat in the Goblin's Camp, or Ro in the Shatter Sanctum in Act 1 Celsius. These 3 are random items or merchants they have, so you got to check in order to get this. Check those 3 places. Now here's another one, Ring of Protection. This will give you AC +1 and saving throws +1 as well. Very nice ring. Complete small quest in Act 1 at the Druid's Grove before finishing up the Investigate Kaga or Save Halsin quest in Act 1. In other words, go ahead and steal the statue. Use invisibility. Go ahead and steal. Pop invisibility once again. Good idea to use 2 potions for that. Then after you steal the statue and give it to Mo, then you get the ring. Now, here's a good alternative in case you don't want to steal or you don't like the Whispering Promise. Crusher Band, movement speed +3 meters. Steal or loot Crusher to get this in the Goblin Camp in Act 1. Now, here's another one. The Sparks Wall cannot be electrocuted. Electric resistance increases as well. Arcane Tower Basement Underdark in Act 1. There's another item in there that's on this list as well for that. Let's get to the weapons. After looking around, I decided to look for 2 possible best weapons, mainly just to hold. Club of Hill Giant Strength. Now, this will automatically increase your strength to 19. Now, this is at the top level of the Arcane Tower. You have to solve some puzzles, get through the Arcane Turrets in order to get to Bernard. Be friendly to him, of course, if you want to, or go ahead and kill him. I don't care which. Now, the Stool of the Hill Giant Strength, you need to throw at something for it to become the club. So, throw against the wall, the club's there, grab the club, and that's it. Now, I'm going to say this right now. This is a very good item for one reason only. Increase your strength to 19. So, yeah, you want to definitely hold on to that. If you're going to go that route, then I advise not using a strength potion, but still, if for some reason you don't like the glove, still use the strength potion. So, here's a nice alternative. Staff of Arcane Blessing. Maestra's Blessing. Bless grants an additional 1d4 to saving throws and weapon attack rolls. And additional 2d4 spell attack rolls as well. This is good for in and out, I should say, wild shape for this staff. Arcane Tower Basement in Act 1. Where you got the ring, this is where you get the staff from. Let's get to the shields. Yes, we're going to be using shields for this. For the shields, this is the best one I felt for Act 1. And no, I'm not using the Amantite one in case someone else wants to use other, I should say, Amantite stuff. Yeah, other party members, like, for example, the other armor. Glowing Shield, AC +2. When you're 50% or less hit points, you gain a temporary 8 hit points, which is good. This is automatic. It carries on even your wild shape. Northeast near the Goblin Camp in Act 1, watch for traps on the way. So go through the Goblin Camp, northeast of it, a whole bunch of traps. Then there's your shield. Now here's another alternative. Wood Ward Shield, +2 AC. When you use wards and snaring strike, your foes cannot move. Foes take 1d6 damage. Attacking foe with this gives you attack advantage as well. Foe has attacking and dex saving throws disadvantage. Use it before you wild shape, then you wild shape, and then abuse those advantages against your target. Drops from Wood Wards in the Fetid Bog in Act 1. Yeah, that grove that's been abandoned and such. Now here's another alternative I decided to toss in anyways, because this will persist through wild shape for one of the stats. Safeguard Shield, AC +2. This will not persist, but the other one will. Saving throws +1. Damien sells this in Act 1 at the Druid's Grove. That's where you do the quest for Mole there as well. So let's go ahead and get to the ranged weapons. Now, these ranged weapons are just used for the item stats and such. So here we go. Hunting Shortbow, Feller of Monsters. You have advantage against monstrous type of enemies. One use of Hunter's Mark before long rest. This is a real good one. It's mainly the Hunter's Mark we're going to use it for before we go into wild shape, especially against tougher foes. Damien also sells this at the Druid's Grove in Act 1. Use the Hunter's Mark for tough fights like I mentioned before. I would say let others use ranged attacks. If you're alone, close in with wild shape of your choice to go ahead and go for the kill. Unless you have the Dino, and then, yeah, use the Dino Spit for that. Let's go ahead and talk about endgame gear. Here are some endgame gear, so please note this is very important. If it says, a certain area by a certain act, like for example, Last Light in Act 2, make sure you do not leave Last Light in Act 2 until you get said item. So here we go. Shapeshifter Hat. Increase your wild shape charge by 1. This additional charge restored upon taking a long rest. You also get nature +1. Sold at the Devil's Feet in Act 3. Very best, I should say, headgear in the game. Do not get any of the others once you get this. Here's some alternatives in case you, of course, missed this one. Helm of Barindian heals 2 hit points per round, +1 armor class, and saving throws as well. Cannot be stunned, cannot be critical hit against. Defeat the one-way trials and the boss in Act 3 to get this. Here's a good alternative. The Helldusk Helmet can see through normal and magical darkness. Cannot be blind at all. +2 saving throws against spells. Whereas immune to critical hits. House of Hope in a lock room in Act 3. These two good alternatives, but go for the Shapeshifter Hat. Let's get to the next set of equipment. Here are some cloaks. I figured these 2 cloaks will definitely carry with you when you do, guessed it, wild shape. Flesh Melter. When wearer gets hit, the attacker takes 1-4 acid damage. Gilded Chest in the House of Healing Morgue in Act 2. Here's a nice alternative. Cinder Moth Cloak. Attacker takes burning damage, which is 1-4 fire damage per round. Ellis Cyruses in the Lower Sea Sewers in Act 3 drops this. You spy all these mud mimps and blobs and such like that. You gotta get into combat in order to kill them for it. Here's some chest gear. Now, this one is the most important one you definitely want to get. Armor of Moon Basking. You gain 22 temporary hit points after casting Wild Shape. Now, this is a really good option there. I'd say probably the best armor for that already. While those temporary hit points are active, they also reduce all incoming damage by 1. Another bonus. Here's the thing. You have a +2 bonus to armor class. You have advantages on saving throws against spells. This effect persists while using your Druid Wild Shape ability. This is one of the best armors in the entire game. So you want to definitely visit the Voiceless Pennant Barakai in the Baldur's Gate Sea Sewers in Act 3. He's by the entrance to the Temple of Baal. That area is really nice for a Druid. Once you get it, forget about anything else. So before you get that armor, you probably most likely want to go for this one. Armor of the Spore Keeper. The wearer gains a +1 bonus to spell save DC, and when it deals necrotic damage, they also deal additional 1 necro damage. While imbued with symbiotic entity, you also spread other spores too on the list. Mystic Charon sells this in Act 3, so don't kill the Mystic Charon until you buy everything from him, of course. Let's move on to another set of equipment. Now here's some gloves. Bone Spike Gloves. Your attacks ignores the falling resistance, slashing, piercing, and blunt. And by the way, your wild shapes can do all 3. Strangler Luke drops this. Now, this is very important. Loot this as soon as you kill the Strangler. Else, after the ambush goes, so does this corpse go poof. So get to the body ASAP, get the gloves, in the ambush in the Undercity in Act 3. That's right, in the Undercity part. That's where you get through the, I should say, ball gauntlet that they try to ambush you and murder you along the way. So get those. For some reason you cannot get those, or you haven't reached that point yet, unwanted masterwork gauntlets. This is the following you do gain: strength saving throws +1 and attack rolls +1. Forge of the 9 house basement in Act 3. Good to get. Let's move on. Now, keep the boots from Act 1. Boots of disintegrating Nightwalkers. They're good boots to have. Now, for some reason someone else has or you forgot to get them. Here's one. Helldust boots cannot be moved by magical or normal means. In other words, you won't be pushed around. Immune to difficult terrain. You're immune to that. But still, that's another one of those things for other classes. When you fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to succeed instead. Now, that is pretty good. So, you mess up a saving throw, hit your reaction, and boom. That's probably once per short or long rest. Teleport to an area. When you do teleport, you do 2 to 16 fire damage. This is in Lord Gortash's room in a locked chest in Act 3. Either steal the key from Lord Gortash or kill him for it. Now, necklaces. I made one huge difference from my melee setup. Here we go. Corvette token. While wearing the amulet, the wearer's jump and flying speed is decreased by 1.5 meters. Can cast Featherfall. Featherfall effects will persist while the wearer is polymorph or wild shape. Now that is a huge bonus there. Featherfall is always nice to have, so this way you don't take falling damage, especially going to be jumping from a very high point. Here's another thing as well. You can polymorph into a Dire Raven. Dire Raven has 13 hit points and can blind foes. Sold by Matthias and Rivington in Act 3. That is the Tiefling Kid. Yeah, that thieving one. He was also very helpful in Act 2. Here's alternative. 2 of them I decided list. Amulet of Greater Health. Constitution set to 23. Advantage on Constitution saving throws you also have. In the archives at the House of Hope in Act 3. Here's another set of amulet here. Sergeant Subjugation Amulet. When it's scoring a critical hit on a humanoid, the wearer can paralyze the target for 2 rounds. This is a very good option. Mouse Thorm drops this in the House of Healing in Act 2. Either talk him to kill himself or fight him in combat for it. If you're going to do the talking, use Shout Heart for that method. Now, here's this ring. Now, it's different than, of course, I should say definitely my melee builds, but here we go. Shapeshifter's Boon Ring. While shapeshifting or disguising yourself, you gain a 1d4 bonus to all ability checks. Every single one. This is a very good option, especially a wild shaping and something like an Owlbear. Just saying. Now, here's how to get it. Some few options. Kill this strange ox in Act 1. Tough thing to do. In Act 2, it's much more easier by Damien's, shop. Or Act 3, if the strange ox is still alive, smuggle the strange ox into the city. Once you definitely do that, the strange ox will cough up the ring for you. Now, here's the next one. Killer Sweetheart. When you kill a creature, your next attack rolls will become a critical hit. This is a really nice option. Self-same trial in the Gauntlet Shard in Act 2. Next up is the Ring of Regeneration. Nice alternative. At start combat, you regenerate 1 to 4 hit points. Rollins or somebody else who's in the Sorcerer's Sundries in Act 3 sells this. Now here's another one. Ring of Reaction. You know the effects of difficult terrain. Cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Now, paralyzed or restrained, that's the part you're going for. Raja, that is the Strength Potion NPC lady who also sells you potions and good things as well for endgame. In Act 2 at Moonrise Tower sells this. Play it cool at the Moonrise Towers, speak to her, and buy these rings. So let's move on. Now, if you have the Club of Hill Giant Strength, that's the best one for a shapeshifter. Keep it. Here's another one. Mako Hishka. This, you get a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. This is a good item before you shapeshift. Cast a very powerful spell. You also gain Arcane Barrier. When this happens, you click the icon. The spell you cast of any circle or say level is for free. You get Kirshaka's Favor, 50% resistance of your elemental choice, and whatever elemental choice you pick, you get 2 of that elemental choice spells to abuse. Located inside the Globe of Invulnerability at the Ramses Tower in Act 3. You have to go through the Sorcerer's Sundries to get there. Here's a nice backup. Staff of Spell Power. You get a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Arcane Battery, like the other one above, found in a lock room at the House of Hope in Act 3. Now, some people go for dual wielding, some just go for one weapon. I prefer a shield when I'm a shapeshifter. Foncia's Walking Fortress, AC +3, Rebuke of the Might. When a foe hits you with a melee attack, you react to make your foe take a dex saving throw. Fail for them to do so, they get prone for 1 round. Success if prone, they're not prone. Fail if or not on the save throw, the foe takes 2d8 force damage. Now you have saving throws on spells and foes have attacks on you that's a disadvantage. That's pretty good before you shapeshift. Reflective Shell, foes' projectiles will be thrown back at them. You also get Warring Bond if you decide to use it. Allies you pick, they gain +1 AC, +1 saving throw, and both of you take the same damage. You know who drops this in under the House of Grief in Act 3, not spoiling it. Here's the alternative shield. Shield Devotion, +2 AC, 1 additional level 1 spell slots. You get Shield Bash. After you make a melee attack, you can do reaction attempt to put your foe attack into a prone status. If they make a dex save, they will not be prone. You also get Aid, heals you and your allies, increases their hit points temporarily by 5. Quartermaster Tally and Last Light in Act 2 Celsius. This is a nice alternative shield, good to use before you go ahead and wild shape, especially the aid part. And buy everything from Quartermaster Tally because she sells some great stuff. Now, for ranged weapons, we're really only use it for the clicky part or anything else that's on there. Darkfire Shortbow, +2 Shortbow, gains resistance to fire and ice, which is good. You can cast Haste, great idea to cast that before wild shaping. Damon sells this in Act 2. If you're really lucky, he might sell this also in Act 3. Use the Haste feature only for this Shortbow. Yeah, use it on yourself or someone else before you wild shape. Otherwise, everyone else use ranged damage and you just go into wild shape and kick some serious butt. That's about it for endgame gear. Next up is potions and elixirs. Now for potions and elixirs, I have a selection of suggestions you definitely want to go for. Now please note I didn't do oils because you're not using your melee weapon. You're using a wild shape for the most part. So that's the reason why I didn't put them in there. So let's start with potions. As always, make sure you have all healing potions. Now if you're in wild shape, you probably can't really use it. So make sure you save those spell slots for healing. Now another thing is a good one's a potion of haste. Gains extra action, +2 AC, advantage on dexterity saving throws, and double movement speed. Now drink this before you wild shape, then you go kick some serious butt. Potion of Flying, same as the fly spell exactly. So if you need to go from one place to another, that's the way to go. Potion Angelic Slumber, drink goes to sleep for 2 rounds. When they wake up, it's like a long rest. Great way to recharge your wild shape and your spell slots. Let's go to elixirs. Now for elixirs, I have a few of them. Elixirs of Vigilance, you gain a +5 bonus to initiatives, and you cannot be surprised. These are great potions, this way you don't get ambushed. Elixirs of Viciousness, increase your chance to land a critical hit. This is pretty good though to have. Now this is a great one. Elixir of Bloodlust, upon killing a foe, which you will be doing that quite a bit, you gain 5 hit points and an extra bonus action. Here's a good one. Elixir of Peerless Focus, gain advantage on concentration saves. Great to start out before you shapeshift, so you drink this and then just blast some lightning or something like that, then wild shape. And last but not least, Supreme Elixir Arcane Cultivation, grant an additional level 4 spell slot. This is really good in case you need to heal a big amount. That's about it for Potions Elixir. Let's go ahead and do the combat test. When you start out, you're going to be a little bit weak. Good idea to have your melee to help you out on that end until you get used to things. You have no melee, just go ahead and use your spells to either clear the area or at least weaken your foes, or better yet, use some kind of form of crowd control to slow them down. So by the time you do that, you definitely will, use your wild shape. See, I'm just using Call Lightning on concentration and quickly switch to my wild shape into a bear to help out with the front line, also to protect Gale as well, so I can have him set up doing some fireballs and anything else of the matter. Yep, see, we're just setting things up. And we're going to go ahead on to the front line and see if we could maul some foes if we can. If not, we're a wall at least. Let's go ahead and do one of the further acts. So we're now in Act 3 at this point. You should probably get used to mastering your summons. If you still want to, your Dryad summons very good. She'll summon wood walls. Or if you want to, use your elementals like I'm using right now at this time. Always summon before combat on those type of things. Another thing is when you get to your elemental summons, just remember you're really using their type of weapon damage, which is alright. If you don't want to do that, you want to make sure you have your Tavern Brawler bonuses. Then do one of the animals, like for example, your Owlbear or a Saber-Toothed Tiger. Yeah, the Saber-Toothed Tiger is really nice, but still, At this point, always experiment even if it's just 1 through 12, because you may never know. You might like the elementals, you might like the owlbear, you might like the saber-tooth tiger, you might like something else on the list. So let me go ahead and go this direction and just demonstrate this real quick, if I can. Let me see if I can take out this foe with that. Yeah, let me go ahead and smack this fool around. Okay, that was a miss. It happens from time to time. And still, just always experiment, because you may never know. And that's about it for the combat test. So let's go ahead and talk about some final advice. Here's some final advice before I do end this build video. When you start out, get used to using certain spells, like for instance, Call Lightning or anything else of the matter, or even the Moonbeam one. Another thing I will definitely say with your wild shapes, start with the polar bear, then of course move your way up to, you guessed it, the owlbear. And then you got the panther. If you want to use elementals, that's fine. As for summon, yeah, the dryad one, that is very OP. Once you get that, you'll basically, I'm going to just be blunt about it, you'll be able to go through, I should say, most if not rest of the game, kick some serious butt with that summon. The elemental summons are good later on. Just remember, always summon outside combat. Sometimes you get surprised out of your wild shape form. If that happens, go nuke happy number 1 and then wild shape real quick. Just don't keep on wild shaping in and out. Eventually use up those charges. Yes, wild shape has charges. You got to be careful on that. Late game, I'll probably say the best forms, if you're not using the elemental, or the owlbears, or the saber-tooth tiger, I call, which they're really good. Yeah, and that's about for my advice. This is it for my Baldur's Gate 3 Pure Druid Circle of the Moon Wild Shape Ultra DPS build video. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching, and have a great day or night. Do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern Dungeons & Dragons walkthroughs, builds, guides, and more just like this. If you like what you see, then go ahead and pick my suggestion on the upper left-hand corner, or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and relax in this nice chair.